Models at the dirt track at Charlotte as one of our qualifying races for the upcoming monthly money race. For those of you who haven't joined us before, Fast Fridays is a weekly series by Maconi Setup Shop featuring a varying car and track combination each and every week. With the revamped format we are seeing now, drivers enter in order to race in 3 qualifying races, with the top 20 in points automatically locking in to the money race. My name is William White, and joining me in the booth is Dustin Bullock, aka DLBTV, with David Kreutz up in the production booth as per usual. So Dustin, these drivers are typically put on the asphalt for Fast Fridays, but are taken to the dirt for the first time, I believe, ever in series history in these Dirt Pro late models. So with that in mind, with plenty of new drivers on the dirt tonight, what can we expect to see as the drivers prepare to hit the track?
Tonight, with it being a dirt race, it's going to be an interesting one because there's a lot of new faces, a lot of new names, and hey, anytime they're on dirt tracks, you never really know what's going to happen. As you see, qualifying is on right now, so it's going to get shaken up a little bit here, but the entertainment factor is going to be nuts no matter what. So keep that in mind because a lot of things can change instantly. And we're seeing right there already pretty big ol' loop-de-loop going into turn number 1 and 2 by Colton Jordan.
Colton Jordan putting up the theatrics in that number 56 car.
Oh, yeah, he's wrecking that thing.
He is wrecking that car. He currently sits in position number 6 on the scoring tower right now in that mangled custom number 18 scored as the 56er 14.532 for that driver. Currently top in the timing sheets though, Dustin, is the 54 machine. That's Ethan Bowers with a very frighteningly quick 14.427. So even though this is a very short track, less than half a mile, there is a massive gulf in lap times when you look down the grid.
Absolutely. I mean, you take a look at it, man. I mean, anyone can win this baby. But also, how many of these guys are going to crash out? I mean, we're doing some heat races here tonight. Things are going to get shaken up. Not too sure what we're seeing on track right now, but definitely a little bit of entertainment already kicking off as we got about 30 seconds remaining in qualifying before we get ready to set this field.
Definitely, just 30 seconds left, as you've mentioned, and it's still Ethan Bowers that currently has the quick time of 14.427. Dylan Eisenberg less than 100th slower in the number 51. That's your current 1 and 2. Josiah Johnson, Hunter McManus, and Richie Yost currently rounding out the top 5 as the seconds continue to tick off. So we'll be having a look at the starting grid momentarily, but as we've mentioned, less than half a mile, the dirt track at Charlotte, and it's a symmetrical oval, 13 degrees of banking in the corners, 4 degrees on the straightaways, makes this track very, very quick, even though it's less than half a mile. The pole time, average speed of 96 miles per hour, but a different format for this race is instead of going straight into a feature from qualifying, Dustin, we will have 2 10-lap heats.
And we're getting ready to grid up for heat number 1, so stay tuned. Because the excitement is kicking off. We got a big field here tonight, so a lot is going to get shaken up here as we continue through the night. And man, so how many are going to qualify in through heat number 1?
I believe it will be the top 10 looking from this. So from each individual heat, so I think we'll have a 20-car feature race, plus the one that advances from the 7-lap consolation, which will take place after these 2 heats. So the starters for this first heat race, Ethan Bowers, will be on the pole, having set the fastest lap time in qualifying. He'll be accompanied by 3rd place driver. In 2nd position, Josiah Johnson. So all the odd-numbered drivers from qualifying will take part in this particular heat. Just behind them, it will be Richie Yost and Devin Stanley occupying row 2. Charlie Cowart and Lane Grubb will occupy row 3. The 36 of Dylan Woods will have the 67 of Dakota Bradford on his outside. Kane Richters and Grayson Young will round out the top 10 as Blake Daniels and Robert Taylor in row number 6. Jacob Bell and Ryan Avila row number 7. Daniel Dill rounds out the top 15 with Austin Leslie on his outside. Dylan Manning and Peter Weeks will be 17th and 18th, rounding out the top 20, Braden Tucker and Chad Drummond. Carl McCutcheon will start 21st. Patrick Denoy scored 22nd. I think That is everyone who set a lap time thus far. There are 31 listed for heat number 1 and heat number 2, but I doubt all of those will be taking the grid.
Whoa, we're already seeing
Seeing
well,
some
spinner there
theatrics.
by the number 5. That's one way of getting your tires warmed. So he's waiting on the pace truck to fire up, and he's already ready to get a nice little jump here in that number 5 machine. So as we heard, top 10 is going to make it. I believe we got roughly, 12 cars in this race. You don't want to be the last 2, I believe, from what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, but definitely want to get a top 10, and that means don't wreck here, as we got a 10-minute heat number 1. And this number 5 is going to be a wild man. So let's see what he's going to have come turn number 1, because I think he's going to have something in store for the field. And oh, is that already a door slam? I'm wondering what's going on here with car number 5 as we are just pacing.
I think, well, I mean, we know that the Dirt Oval community on iRacing is very tight-knit, so it is possible that Ethan Bowers, Josiah Johnson, they are just friends on and off the racetrack. We know how tight-knit these guys are. Probably a bit of banter between those 2 drivers, but we'll be going green momentarily with 12 drivers taking the green flag, with Robert Taylor right at the back there in the number 66, but we're going to be going green momentarily, and it is a very good start for the 00 machine there. Ethan Bowers there scored as the number 54 takes off into the lead out of turn 2, and it's going to be Josiah Johnson dropping down to 3rd as Richie Yost gets the jump in the number 29 machine. Already 1 lap down in a matter of seconds. We've got some door banging behind them. They're really racing close, and there's one around in the middle of the track. Will that bring out a yellow on lap 2 of 10? It will not. We will stay green for the rest of this heat.
We're gonna stay green. Like I said, you don't want to be in the last 2 positions. If you already crashed, there's a good chance you are in trouble. All you gotta do is survive this thing, and you're gonna be locked into the show. Now, if you did wreck, it's not over yet, but you're gonna get a last chance qualifier.
Richie
Yo, we
Yost,
got some cars
massive
flying.
accident.
Oh my goodness, they are
There's a
stacking them up
massive
here
one.
at Charlotte. This is bad. Oh,
That's about
geez,
half the
66.
field.
Oh, and the leaders must be coming. Hopefully the leaders don't get involved here, as everyone is just stacking up. Battle for that 10. Oh my goodness, there's contact around every single corner right now, as the
Josiah
5 is now going
Johnson.
around on the front straightaway.
Josiah Johnson, though, with extensive damage to that machine. His heat might be done. There's 4 cars sat on pit road. As long as you're on the track and your motor's running, there's another one facing the wrong direction, you will be qualified for the feature. This is absolute insanity. The only driver really to escape unscathed is Ethan Bowers there.
Oh.
He leads by almost a 1/3 of a lap, with having lapped everyone up to 4th there. Just 3 cars remain on the lead lap in what has been a carnage-filled first heat. And now, already in a flash, there are just 3 laps to go. It's the 28 and the 66 jockey for position behind them.
Wide job just happened right there, as we just seen live. They're going to be taking 2 laps to go this time by, as we're going through the field. A battle for 10th is going to be important, but also the track position you're going to have for where you're going to be starting in the feature race is going to be huge. You definitely want to get a good result. The white flag is waving. Take them home coming off turn number 4.
Ethan Bowers, the only one to escape unscathed out of a massively carnage-filled heat number 1. He's going to take victory and put himself at the point of the grid for the feature race, the 00, in dominant fashion. Takes the first heat race by nearly 6 seconds over the 36 car of Dylan Woods and the 68 of Grayson Young. That is everyone who finished on the lead lap. Ethan Bowers nearly laps of the entire field, as Grayson Young in 3rd place. He doesn't even have a front bumper to boast of. Everyone else that qualifying for that heat race finished at least 1 lap down. But now, I believe, Dustin, we've got our heat 2 drivers ready to go. Why don't you rattle them off for us?
Typically, with heat races, you see exciting one like what we just had and a calmer one. But we got Dylan on the pole here in car number 51. I'm curious how big this field is going to be. And will it be just as wild as the last one is going to be my main question. I mean, it's so nuts. Jordan starting in the 3rd position. He's going to be a big contender. Hunter starting in position number 2 is another one. Man, it's looking to be nuts. We're going to have a heck of a field. Williams starting in car number 48 in the 4th position. Cheek in position number 5. Driving the 55, 555. Harris in the 59 will be starting in position number 6. And then we got the good old 99 car running in the 7th position. Holden in position number 8. So it's going to be a big field. Are we going to have 10 or 12 cars in this one, as Brandon Holden is going to be starting in position number 8?
I do believe so, as Cody Brunson there occupies the 9th position, if I'm not mistaken. Tyler Schuster in 10th. Dominic right there in the number 43 is 11th, with David Metheny in position number 12. So we'll have another 12-car grid to decide the 10 that make it through to the feature race. So we'll have to see who can win this one. Will it be another case of survival guarantees your way in, as we saw just 3 cars finish on the lead lap with, I think, 4 DNFing. So even some of the DNFers managed to make their ways into the feature race. Obviously, some of these guys will have to make their way through the consolation race. That'll be 7 laps. That will happen right after heat number 2, but the pace truck will be pulling off momentarily. It's Dylan Eisenberg and Hunter McManus on the front row, and as they come into the back straight away, the pace truck pulls off in what is a very eccentric pit lane. Obviously nothing like a pavement oval where it peels off naturally. It's almost a straight line through the middle of the infield here at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But Dylan Eisenberg steps on it, the green flag waves, and he's off to a brilliant restart up there. Colton Jordan's going to immediately slip to the inside there of Hunter McManus, and there's contact. Colton Jordan almost goes around the 4 abreast near the back of the pack. Colton Jordan saves it though, as they all file their way through nice and cleanly. There's 1 in the wall there. There's 2 and 3 in the wall. 1's around there. 41 but he just about makes it through. Dominic Wright's up a few positions there in the number 43. Carnage already, there's another one in the wall. Facing the wrong direction there. Carnage early doors as we start to tick off the laps. Very quickly here. He's missing a tyre. He's gone the wrong way.
He's going the wrong way. Watch it. No! Oh my goodness.
Oh my, I think he lagged out through people. Tanner Cheek there.
Oh my goodness.
That was almost terrible.
Bad. Oh, we already got 2 pretty much wrecked out. Meaning the top 10 are probably going to advance here, but they're out fighting for track position, qualifying position, or where they're going to be starting in the feature race. So as Colton Jordan is trying to make a pass on the 43 car, not going to quite happen yet, but he's trying to sneak his way inside the top 5, and if he does, that should be starting him around the 10th position in the feature event. So watch out, because he's cutting it close down there, almost to the rear bumper of the 29. There may have even been contact. 4 laps remaining. He's now trying the outside. He feels he's a little bit faster, and he's going to complete that pass on the outside after nearly snagging the wall very close to it, but he is going to get that done as he's dirt tracking it there. 29 got a little bit out of control. Cheek is out of it. He's wrecked out on track. We got nothing but action as we got 3 laps remaining in heat race number 2. Williams has made it to the 3rd position as the race is heating up here. He comes to the bottom groove, looking for 2nd. I don't know if it's going to quite happen right here, but maybe, potentially. 2 ago with the line.
Round the outside goes Kane Williams there in the number 48, looking for the position ahead of Hunter McManus in the 07, who might be looking for a move for the lead ahead of Dylan Eisenberg, as they are side by side for the race. Dominic right now entering the fray as the leaders jockey for position. Eisenberg and McManus jockey for position. Here comes Dominic Wright out of nowhere up into P2. Could we see bumpers for the heat win as McManus and Wright work their way off of turn number 4? It will be Hunter McManus that wins the first heat as they will wreck behind them in a massive accident that sees Hunter McManus, I believe that is, up on his side. Kane Williams upside down, but by a 1/10 of a second, Hunter McManus will start on the outside pole. He wins heat number 2.
Right. who got the second position, nearly stole that thing. He wasn't the fastest all day, but he nearly stole that win on the final lap just because they was racing it out so hard. So now we got the last chance qualifier. This is going to be a 7-lap event with Daniels on the pole, Harris starting in position number 2, and Bradford starting in position number 3. So let's see how this one is going to shake out. We currently have 2 cars gridded up. Let's see how many we're going to have gridded up here, as we may not have a very big field for the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, we'll wait and see just how many cars grid up for this LCQ, as you mentioned in the consolation race. Only Patrick Harris has gridded up for the time being. Blake Daniels is scored as the first driver in this consi, but he's yet to grid up, so we don't actually know for sure exactly how many Dirt Pro late models we're going to have ripping around the track for this LCQ. Is still no one has gridded. This is very bizarre.
That'd be a one-man show.
It might well be. Well, we'll know who advances out of the LCQ if only the 59 of Patrick Harris takes the flag. And wow, is he gonna have to just putt around for 7 laps? This is quite bizarre. No one else has gridded. I don't know if they're in the session or if after being put in the consi as a result of qualifying results, whether they've just packed up and gone home. As he's just putting around behind the pace truck. I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know about you, Dustin.
I think we could go on a green right about now and turn him loose here. I mean, he's definitely gonna put on a little show. I know in the past I had things that has happened where, you know, we have had a similar scenario and we decided to go ahead and try to advance it as we cleared off the track. It kind of just broke the whole game. So a lot of the time, you kind of have to one-man show these things to keep that from happening.
Definitely. Well, I think, yeah, I don't even know. The pace truck has now pulled off, so Patrick Harris gonna have control of the restart. There we go. He bombs it. He's caught the entire field napping there. He's got a massive lead over the rest of the field there. So lap 1 of 7 started.
Off turn number 2. Seems to be tracking very good and has good momentum over his competition currently. That 59 is looking to be the fastest car. But if you pay attention, he is pulling away just ever so slightly over his competition. As we're coming around to lap number 3, solidly up front is Patrick Harris. He started first, and he is running first. As we are 3 laps in that last lap. Oh, does he have a contender? Oh. This could potentially...
Who has entered the chat? We'll see. That's Trenton Norton in the 151 car. Scored as a 39. He has entered the chat.
So how many lock in?
He won't. Unless he really gets a move on, but he's in the wall, so I don't think he's going to really be going much faster.
Maybe he's going to try to take out his competition.
It could be a viable strategy, but Patrick Harris has already blown by him, so I think as soon as Patrick Harris takes the next lap, with Trenton Norton being 2 laps down, I think that's going to be a foregone conclusion. As there we go, popsicle sticks are now out here at the dirt track at Charlotte for the consolation race, the last chance qualifier, and Patrick Harris, purple in all sectors, has absorbed a lot of pressure from everyone behind him, and as the white flag waves, he has done really, really well. Definitely going to deserve this berth into the feature race. As
domination.
3 and 4. Domination. Led every lap. Lapped the entire field twice.
And he's in the show.
He's in the show. Well done, Patrick Harris. A brilliant performance there in the consolation race.
Incredible.
He's lapped the entire field 5 times. On it. In a 7-lap race.
Now it's time for a main event to be coming up here momentarily. So we got warm-up on the track for those who are locked in to the show. It's a 40-lap event. If it's anything like what we have seen so far tonight, stay tuned because it's going to get more bumpy, more wild, more chaotic as we continue. Patrick may be the guy to win this thing come the end if he can put on another performance like he has just done
I mean, he lapped the entire field 5 times in a 7-lap race. That's probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen on iRacing. So I'm excited to see what Patrick Harris can produce in the feature race. But obviously, the format that we have with heat races and LCQs and the like doesn't necessitate a 5-minute warm-up in between the consolation and feature race. So we'll be seeing these drivers get some last-minute prep, getting used to the new track conditions. We're focused on the 43 of Dominic Wright. Currently holds one of the fastest times, I think, that has since been dethroned by the 59 Patrick Harris, who again, purple in all sectors for the 59. It's looking good for Patrick Harris, as now just got 3.5 minutes left in the warm-up, but having seen 2 heat races and albeit only 1-man consi, Dustin, who would you rate as your pick to take the feature race victory tonight?
You know, Dominic Wright, he's fastest on the track right now. He came alive at the end of heat number 2. Dominic may be the winner here tonight. He's fastest on track, nearly stole the win in heat race number 2. I think that's who I'm going with. He's going to be restarting in probably the 4th position, as I believe that's going to be. So he's going to have some work to do, but I think it's going to be a very big wild card here tonight as well, because we're going to have a lot of crashes. We're going to have guys crash out. We may block this track. Things are going to happen. This is going to be the biggest field we've had all night. So once we get 20 cars lined up, hold your breath, buckle up, because it's going to get more than bumpy. It may be survival come the end, because not only you can make contact with your competitors here and wreck, like we seen earlier, you can hit one of them tires on the inside groove, go bouncing over that baby and fly into all your competition. So you really are not safe anywhere. You're not safe in lap traffic. We seen a car going the wrong way earlier. Things can get big at any moment, and things can set up and get wild around any turn. So you can't really, as much as you can say, I think this guy's gonna win, I feel like the unknown is just too high to have a direct answer, but I think Dominic is going to get the job done, as we got a car around and tires rolling in a turn number 2.
Definitely not ideal for a warm-up to be tearing up your car. Thankfully, it's only a simulation, so that shouldn't be too costly for that race team. But Dominic Wright, close friend of mine, and bears the same racing number as me, number 3. So he was kind of already my pick before the race even started. Me and him are close friends. So I'm gonna pick Dominic Wright as well, just because I would love to see him take a Fast Fridays race victory. And as you mentioned, Dustin, he was super quick at the end of Heat 1. Went from 9th to 2nd throughout that whole race and almost stole it at the death with 2 to go, coming all the way from 4th as the 3 leaders up at the front were fighting absolutely tooth and nail for that Heat victory, as Hunter McManus came out on that particular occasion. He'll be starting outside pole alongside Ethan Bowers. They'll be your front runners for the feature race. And now just 50 seconds left in this warm-up. Dominic Wright still holds the fastest time of anyone at the moment out of that handful of drivers that have taken to the mud in this warm-up session. But everyone, just looking generally how these guys are driving, everyone looks to be fairly comfortable. They're acclimating to the track position and track conditions rather. So yeah, I'm definitely predicting firstly a race of attrition, as we saw carnage in both heats, but a close competition for the win, I would imagine.
Sure, and yellow flags will be on for this event, correct? Or is it just going to be set them loose and have fun with it?
I believe there will be yellow flags, just because it is a slightly longer race, 40 laps for these drivers. We don't want a similar situation happening in the heat race, or the first heat race in particular, where Ethan Bauer almost like the entire field from half the field crashing. So I imagine cautions will be on for the feature race. As warm-up has now concluded, we'll be seeing the starting grid momentarily for the feature race. I have to see exactly how many cars take to the track, as the gridding process will begin momentarily.
And it's time to go feature racing here on Maconi Entertainment for a 40 lap show, a 40 lap event. And it's go time. It's go time. That's all we can say. And looking at the field, these guys are already ready to turn them loose. I mean, as we got Ballers on the pole in the 54, and it looks like we maybe
I
didn't
think
have
a
everyone.
slightly thinner field. Yeah, sorry. I didn't
Yeah,
mean to-
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So this is gonna jump up these guys from the back all the way to potentially the pole sitter here now. I mean, I've seen a car that was running probably about 10th that's gonna be restarting on the pole, basically. So this gives
Yeah.
everyone opportunity that maybe didn't feel like they had it. We still have a pretty good sized field. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars on track. So not quite the field we thought we were going to get. But with 7 cars in the feature, it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of names here that maybe thought that they was out of it. Now, this is going to give that 43 car, which I talked about and picked to win this thing, potentially a huge advantage because a lot of his competition on his inside now obviously didn't have the pace that he has currently, or they maybe didn't get the race in that they could have gotten because they got wrecked out in their heat race. So we're going to see who's going to bring speed, who's going to bring the heat. Pace car is in, and we are about to drop the green flag for Maconi Entertainment from Charlotte, as we're about to do a little bit of dirt racing and slide jobs here with the late model. Almost 3 wide already. The green flag is out. The 1 car is off outside. Was sleeping a little bit. That 43 is going to come alive and try and get the momentum up. Turn number 2, almost 3 wide in the back. It was 3 wide in the back. That's a 77 pulled off a big slide job. He's digging. The 06 is trying to make a move underneath him as the battle for 5th is on up ahead of him. 39 laps remaining. They're digging. We got to fight for the lead up front. The 43 car is coming alive. Oh, bump in the back as there was contact back there. I believe everyone's going to save it, but up front is where the action is currently. Here we go. Lead change up front. The 1's fighting back for the 43 of right is going to pull it off, get the lead, and let's see if he can check out from the field behind him as the battle for the 2nd position is currently on.
Clinical move there from Dominic Wright to squeak past Kane Richter's there in the number 32 machine. He now leads the feature races. Kane Richters and Patrick Harris, consolation race dominator. Patrick Harris now up to 2nd place as these guys are not afraid to get up in each other's business and trade some pain as Kane Richters now drops down to 3rd as the 59 takes 2nd place, though Kane Richter's gonna reply with a slide job of his own. Up to 2nd place momentarily for the 32, but the 59 will have the momentum on the high side still. Neck and neck for P2 as Dominic Wright begins to check out at the forefront. Still side by side for P2 as they jockey for position behind them there. That's P4, that is the 99 of Pileski trying to hold off the chasing pack behind him, and still side by side with a lot of respect given DLB as Patrick Harris and Kane Richter still fight, but I think Kane Richter might just have the upper hand for now.
Patrick Harris is somebody that we didn't know what he was going to bring into the feature. Now that he's running in the 2nd position, we're seeing what he brings to the table. And he get up there and go run down that 43 machine of right. I think he can definitely get it done if he can continue digging here. If he can just clear that 1, I really think he can get away from him. The outside may not have the grip right now, and unfortunately, he's really forced to get this pass done on the outside. It can't really get to the bottom of him and pull off that slide job that he wants to do, so he's going to have to continue digging up there. 30 laps remaining. You see the 1 try running a little bit higher. This could be a upper hand to Patrick as he is going to finally potentially clear him. The 1's going to send it in deep, and that 2 is going to get the momentum up. Door bumper clear up to position number 2. Now, with a 2.5 second lead, he's going to try to run down the 43 machine of right. I think he'll be able to potentially track on the green here as lap traffic is going to play a factor, but Harris definitely getting up on the wheel as we're not far away from the halfway marker here from the Charlotte dirt track. He's checking out from the 3rd position, so it's definitely looking pretty good for him so far. But what does he need to do? I mean, he can move around a little bit. He can try the bottom. He can try the top. He's obviously a little bit more experimental than the leaders. And as we're watching, he's not really gaining, but he's not really losing as the 1 is going to go around off turn number 2, and he's going to hit pit road.
And The immediate toe there for Kane Richters actually prevents the yellow from coming out as we have a fight behind them there. So 77 of Jacob Bell and the 52 there of Charlie Cowart going at it there. Position number 4 there, Tyler Schuster just in front of them as Bell looks to clear Cowart, but Cowart with a massive run on the top side there in that number 25 machine, looking to go the long way around the 77, and he will do so clinically. Brilliant move there from Charlie Cowart. He's up into position number 4 here at the dirt track at Charlotte, and as we barrel towards halfway in this race, as there's nearly contact between the 77 and the 25, Dominic Wright's lead continues to grow and grow, nearly 3.5 seconds. As we look at the lap times, Dominic Wright about 1/10 of a second quicker per lap last time around us. Now that goes to 3/10 as a 15-1 for Patrick Harris last time around, a 14-8 for the 43. Dominic Wright looking comfortable out in the lead. Tyler Schuster currently rounds out our podium, but still the fight for 4th. Jacob Bell doesn't want to give it up easily, but Charlie Cowart clears that driver and begins to start to pull away as we're nearing the halfway point. Dustin and Dominic Wright establishing a comfortable lead.
Dominic is looking dominant right now as he is up front, leading with a 4-second lead. Now, if you're Harris, you're thinking, I can get experimental, I can try things. I think my best bet is probably going to see what he can do with the lap traffic. Now, if he can catch the tail end of the field before the end of this thing, there's a chance he could get held up for 3 seconds, especially if these guys keep racing the way that they are currently racing. But it's going to be a while until he gets there. The 77 is going to send it in deep. Up to Harris, that's your best bet right now. You're hoping he catches the lap traffic, has trouble getting around him, or just gets collected in something that may not be of his doing. But things on track are singling out. It's looking like there's a very good chance we are going to go green flag racing from start to finish, which is something we didn't quite expect here. But we have 5 cars on track currently after a few of them has wrecked out. So we just got to see what we can do as Bell is on pit road. We now have 4 cars on track.
Yeah, we saw Jacob Bell get a piece of the outside wall just slightly out the frame there as he was trying to catch back up to Charlie Cowart, and I think that's terminal damage for the number 77. He's towed that machine. And as you mentioned, Dustin, we're now down to just 4 drivers, and leading them is the 43 of Dominic Wright as there are now just 16 laps to go. As Dominic Wright continues to sling mud and do it in style as he's got nearly a 5-second gap over Patrick Harris, and I think Patrick Harris is going to hope for Dominic Wright to hit trouble, otherwise he's going to be walking away with it. As now lap 26 of 40 for the 43. There's just 15 laps to go, 4.5 seconds. Still separate your leaders with Tyler Schuster and Charlie Cowart rounding out the field that currently run in P3 and P4, but this definitely looks like an affair that, despite the carnage we saw in the heats, looks like it's going to go flag to flag.
And the interesting thing about Wright is we're not seeing him hug the top. He hasn't been getting experimental. He's been safely running the bottom to the second groove. This is about the highest we have seen him get, and he's still exiting about that second groove. He is getting a pretty wide arc. He definitely tried the outside. That's the first time we've seen him move up to the top. Maybe he feels like the top groove is ready. He's turning her loose. Maybe he's listening to me because he's now on that outside dirt tracking. Now let's see if this can really help Harris now that he has moved to the top. Will the top be the way to go, or will it be the bottom? I would imagine he's getting a little bit experimental. He's going to watch his lap times and see which one is better for him. Back down to the bottom, goes to 43. Will his handling be able to continue for the next 10 laps, or is he going to start losing time by being too experimental in that 43 machine?
We definitely saw Patrick Harris ever so slightly close the gap up to that number 43 machine, as again it takes another couple tenths out of the 43, but it might be too little too late for the 59ers. That gap still nearing 5 seconds as there's just 9 laps to go now for Dominic Wright, and we saw him up in the high side trying to make it work. Obviously you carry a higher average speed throughout that portion of the track, the offset being that you are doing a longer distance around the racetrack is again a little bit higher for the 43. We'll see if that benefits him. We know that dirt tracks evolve very quickly the more they get worn in, as still the laps taken off very, very quickly, and the gap stabilizing, maybe slightly closing.
Getting smaller. He's into the 3-second range. Up into the 3.9 back. I mean, he is catching him very slightly. It's going to be impossible for him to have enough time, but if he can really get this thing, this 06 is absolutely throwing that baby around here at Charlotte. He's going up in no man's land, trying to find grip, and he's into the wall off turn number 4, as he is wheeling that baby around here. Harris definitely trying to wheel that baby as well. Not quite as far as in the danger zone, but you can see he's pushing it 100% right now. 4.1 seconds back. The stabilized, as you said. He did break down a 3.9, but hasn't really been able to advance past that mark, as it's not going to be long. We're going to be coming to 3 laps remaining when we get back around to the line. We got a slow car on track, as everyone's going to try a duck and miss him, especially coming off turn number 2.
That's Charlie Cobalt there, going a little bit slowly, potentially some damage for that number 25 machine, potentially an accident or a spin for that driver, but as you mentioned, just a handful of laps to go now, and with how quickly these laps are going off, about 15 seconds, there's only going to be about 30 seconds left for Dominic Wright, because he's barreling into turn 1 and turn 2 with the popsicle sticks out. That means 2 laps to go down the back straight. He's managed to keep that gap stable at about 4 seconds, but he's been completely unparalleled all night long. And now just 1 lap to go.
Whoa!
As he's going to make contact with Charlie Cobalt, the slow moving 26, and
The gap is closing 2 seconds.
This might be a close finish as Patrick Harris closing in. Dominic Wright's going very slowly. His car is destroyed. Here comes Patrick Harris at the 10.
Here he comes.
Oh,
he got it.
Patrick Harris is going to win it at Charlotte.
Oh, there's gonna be tempers.
word.
There is gonna be tempers. I feel so bad for Wright because he got more than mugged on the final lap. My goodness, he had this baby in the bag, let it all but 1 lap pretty much. That is nuts, and the 2 is gonna burn it down. Harris gets the win.
Oh,
Woo! I think that finish was worth the wait. How? How did this happen? Shall we take a replay? Let's see what happened. I mean, Harris is cruising. I mean, right here, the car had been broken before that point.
he was
Get here and it just doesn't turn, doesn't turn.
He's trying
Pretty much, the wheels knocked off front. Right here, just send it in on lap traffic too hard.
I think, yeah, he was anticipating Charlie Cobalt potentially taking a different line. There was a massive speed differential. We knew that Charlie Cobalt had damage and was multiple laps down. Really wasn't fighting for much. That's going to be massively frustrating for Dominic Wright, who just loses
Barely got there.
literal meters. That's heartbreak for the 43 car. And Patrick Harris, there at the end to take it, to capitalize, but that stings for Dominic.
I mean, it has to. That is so tough. I mean, I couldn't imagine leading every single lap to run into a lapped car and then boom, that's it. That's your race. That's your shot at the win. But that's exactly what we just seen on the Maconi Entertainment here tonight from the Charlotte Dirt Track. Oh my goodness, it seems like every week we get something wild, something crazy, and that's just what we've seen here tonight.
Definitely. Well, we had to wait a little bit as it was a flag to flag affair, but I think we were definitely treated to a grandstand finish as mere tenths, mere meters separated Dominic Wright from the race victory. You see the race results popping up on your screen. Obviously, only 7 drivers took the green flag for the feature race, those being Patrick Harris, your winner in the number 59 car, the 43 of Dominic Wright, will finish a heartbreaking 2nd place time as Schuster rounds out the podium. Charlie Cobalt was the last driver to finish. He finished 2 laps down there with Jacob Bell, Kane Richters, and James Pileski all DNFing, with Ethan Bowers and below, despite winning heat races, not competing in the feature.
Goes to show you can't count anybody out. I mean, that's the big thing about big time auto racing is you never know what's around any corner, and that's what always keeps it so exciting. Is it could be a flat tire, it could be a crash, it could be a lapped car, and just how fast things can change. is the exact reason why we are all race fans and love racing ourselves and love sim racing. And it also goes to show, never give up, keep fighting, because just like that, one mistake by your competitor, boom, in contention, was able to get that deal done.
Definitely. Well, it's one of the pros and cons of auto racing, as you mentioned. We love it for the show that it puts on, but when you're down there in the thick of it as a driver and you're on the wrong end of it, like Dominic Wright was tonight, it hurts like nothing. And to lose like that to something largely out of your control, and you lose it right to death, literally coming out of turn 4 meters to go. That is going to absolutely sting. But Patrick Carey still a deserving winner. He had to be there to capitalize. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing anyone in any transfer rooms at the minute, so no post-race interviews seems to be on the cards for the moment. But yeah, Dustin, I mean, there's not really much more to sum up about that race because the heats were carnage. We had a one-man consolation race and a 7-lap feature that quickly turned to 4 with what was still kind of a race of attrition and a massive grandstand finish at the end of it still, despite the thin field. What would you say your overall final thoughts for tonight's event at the Dirt Track at Charlotte?
I think it's entertaining. We had a lot of new faces here tonight. We couldn't count anyone out. The heat races was carnage. The race was clean. We had a good finish. I don't think you could ask for too much more. We definitely got quite the finish, and that made up for everything that happened here tonight. But a lot of big crashes, a lot of chaos. Couldn't count anyone out. Overall, I would say dirt racing was a success here on Maconi Entertainment here tonight on this Friday night event.
Definitely a entertaining one to say the least, and Patrick Harris, a deserving race winner. But I think with no post-race interviews on the cards, unfortunately, I think that is going to be about all we have time for here for Maconi Entertainment Fast Fridays. Of course, thanking tonight's race sponsors, Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Competitor Zone. Calling action tonight was myself, William White, as well as DLB TV, alongside me with David Kreutz up in the production booth. Thanking all our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you'll stay tuned to all of our social channels for our next Fast Fridays race, which will be the Next Gen Cup Series cars at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're back on the pavement next week. I expect to see some familiar faces back for that one. And of course, not forgetting to tune in for our broadcast of the top split of the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Truck Series on iRacing. But that is all we have time for. Thank you from myself, William White, DLP TV, alongside me, David Quitz, in the production booth. Thank you so much for watching. That's going to be all we have time for. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we will see you at the checkered flag. Good night.